So Manila Bay is going to rise just from the amount of pooping. And they're not even talking about the polar ice caps, just the regular
And
poop.
they're not even talking about the flush water.
Okay.
I mean, the thing here is, okay, the greatest single invention of humankind was indoor plumbing. After indoor plumbing was
No, it's
introduced-
language. Language.
Okay, second.
So language
second.
versus indoor plumbing. Yeah. The world has gone bonkers. We now live in George Orwell's 1984. War is peace, ignorance is strength, and crazy is normal. How do you stay sane? Gerry Parco is an environmental engineer who works with various global agencies. Hi, Gerry. Could you give us a backgrounder on the state of the environment? Because, the environment has been in the news, although it's a surprise that the environment is not headlines every day, given the state of things. And this week, there was the big climate strike in New York, etc., etc. So give us a backgrounder on the state of the environment and what exactly the climate strike was talking about.
So globally, climate and environment is hitting the headlines every now and then.
Yes.
And
But still not
sometimes
enough.
not enough. People are agitated to a certain degree. They are right to be agitated. What is the state of the environment? It's many people have many different opinions on what exactly is the state, but we can definitely say that we are going to a place where we are not sure what's going to happen to us. That is the state of the environment. We're not really sure.
That's even scarier than it's bad. Because uncertainty is...
We don't know.
Yeah.
We
As
don't
in
know.
tomorrow, we could all go down into a sinkhole.
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly. So how far are we going to go in terms of warming the earth? Who knows?
Yeah.
Some people even say that at some point, the earth itself is going to act its mother Gaia type of role where it's going to balance everything.
Yeah, and Mother Earth will say, I have to get rid of the problem, and that's us.
That's us. It's going to do something. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but right now, we're on a path of change. Definitely. Things are changing. Can we as human beings adopt?
Yes.
So that's a big question. I mean, so the question is, can human beings live in an environment which is like elevated temperatures, 50 degrees? Answer is yes. In Dubai, it's like the normal temperature,
No, but the problem with that is that people will say, oh, pwede naman pala eh. So
Exactly. And it varies also with different places, different parts of the earth. You have places which are very cold and they would be just so happy to have global warming. So the other thing is the effect on polar ice caps. So I was amazed at the melting. I was amazed at how much water is actually up there. I just couldn't wrap my mind around how much water is in Greenland.
Which is not for sale, apparently.
Which is not for sale.
Yes.
Trump cannot buy that, but apparently it can raise seawater levels by 10, 20, 30 meters. Wow, just think of that.
So that means
it's
Manila will be underwater?
Exactly. The whole Ermita, for example, for sure, underwater. How far? I was thinking kasi I live in Quezon City. How high is my house from where Manila Bay is now? I'm not going to be affected.
Okay.
That's my personal.
And once again, so this leads to the problem that some people say it's okay. I'm in Quezon City naman.
Exactly.
I will not be affected by the melting of the polar ice caps in Greenland.
But then again, it's gonna happen slowly. It's not like it's gonna happen in a year. Is even such a fast time for sea levels to rise. So that's gonna happen over decades. So people can adopt, people can move, people will move up higher. We will have less land, but things change, but nature will adapt.
So you mean
am I pessimistic? I mean, that's my favorite. Am I being pessimistic? I want to be more optimistic.
Yeah. The problem is like when we say a problem that needs to be solved. What we do not mean is global warming, so buy more air conditioning. What we mean is address it, as in slow it down. But anyway, before we continue to talk about our doomed planet, can we offer you something to drink at least?
I would love white coffee.
Okay. Gamba, please.
Thank you.
Yes, this is our assistant,
It looks
Gamba.
like Aladdin from the genie from Aladdin.
What is becoming more and more obvious from reading articles about the state of the environment, etc., is that the problem is us. Just by existing, we are destroying the planet.
Yes.
So, what do we do? Where do we start?
Every human being, every year, we produce 50 kilos of feces.
Okay, but at least that's organic.
I know, but this is the whole point. Just us being us, we produce waste.
Even if we're good, even if we're like
good.
even if they're vegan or
Whatever,
people who refuse to shop, etc.
Yes, that's one sack of rice. How do you deal with this sort
Thank
of
you for
waste load?
associating
I
feces
know.
with rice, and now
Every person
produces 50 kilos of waste.
Human waste, a year. So that's all of us. Multiply it by the number of people here in Metro Manila, and you see the magnitude of the problem that an urban city faces. And many people don't realize that.
Okay, let's say there's 13 million people. Is there 13?
You're calculating the metric tons of,
yes.
Gosh.
13 million
wow.
people times 50 kilos of... and then it all goes down into the...
Where?
The water system.
Manila Bay.
Okay.
Right?
So Manila Bay is going to rise just from the amount of poop in it. And they're not even talking about the polar ice caps, just the regular
And
poop.
you're not even talking about the flush water.
Okay.
I mean, the thing here is, okay, the greatest single invention of humankind was indoor plumbing. After indoor plumbing
No, it's language.
Okay, second.
So language
second.
versus indoor plumbing. Yeah.
Okay, second. Indoor plumbing extended lifetimes tremendously because disease was avoided and all that. Then indoor plumbing. But indoor plumbing means that we all have toilets and we flush everything in the toilet system.
Yeah.
Let me ask maybe everyone here, how many times do you flush a toilet in a day?
A lot.
A normal person would use a toilet 5 times a day.
Okay.
So that means that you flush toilets 5 times a day. Toilets have about 5 to 10 liters, depends on how old your toilet closet is. So let's say 10 liters, you live in an old house. That's 50 liters right away. 50 liters of dirty water from you personally
plus
contributing.
Poop. Yeah.
Well, yeah, poop
Okay.
and whatever's mixed there. Then you multiply that by the number of people in Metro Manila. So that's how much water Manila water and Maynilad water need to manage.
Just so you can flush the toilet.
Flush the toilet and because they manage also the wastewater. By the way, they don't just provide water, they manage the wastewater.
What do you mean by manage wastewater?
They collect it from your houses. So if you notice now all over Metro Manila, these concessionaires, the 2 companies I just mentioned, they're supposed to be laying out pipes so that you don't need septic tanks anymore.
Yeah.
You just connect to the pipes and then they bring it to a central wastewater treatment facility, and that's where you treat the wastewater so that all this dirty water becomes what we call treated effluent, and that's what gets to Pasig River, San Juan River, all these rivers. But they haven't completed the collection system yet. Okay, so I think 2037 is when they're supposed to completely cover the whole Metro Manila with this collection system.
So meanwhile, we're all sitting on
they've
a giant
improved.
mountain of...
No, Jessica, they've improved. We were like 5% sewered before. Now we're, I think, I'm not sure, 40% already. So still 60% of the city is not sewered. There is an index, global index, where you measure the how cosmopolitan a city is by how many people are connected to central sewerage. That means nothing is getting into the rivers and all that. Everything is clean. For example, Zurich is totally sewered. Everything is collected. So you can swim in the river in the middle of Zurich. People do that.
Yeah.
Because it's clean.
And I hear you can also walk barefoot. It's clean.
Where? In Zurich?
daw.
I hope so.
Okay.
I don't know. So, but Metro Manila, at some point, we were 5% sewered.
I am not walking
We were in the
barefoot
level.
Metro Manila. Am I crazy?
We were in the level of Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Aha.
See? And then so you go up, then Singapore totally sewered, Hong Kong totally sewered. So
We're
now
in the
we're
level,
getting up. Now
we're
we're
in
getting
the
up.
level of Dhaka, but I'm sure their internet is faster than ours.
Surprisingly.
Anyway,
okay, that's a different topic.
Ah.
So there you go. So that's the state in which we are in.
So first we talked about how the world is on fire because of climate change.
Yeah.
And now we talk about how we're drowning in poop.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so choose the way you want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, and no matter how good you are, kunyari you're vegan, you don't use plastic, etc., you still poop. So
Exactly.
first things you have to do if you want to be pure, number 1, stop exhaling carbon dioxide. Number 2, stop pooping. Yeah, so which leads to the next question: are we doomed?
Are we doomed? We are not. I am more on the optimistic side, and as I mentioned earlier, I think at some point the planet will correct itself. There will be some cataclysmic event. I don't know what.
Yeah,
People
and
may die.
you say I'm being optimistic by thinking,
But there's a
there will be a
cataclysmic
cataclysm
event.
that
But I'm
will
looking at
destroy half the
mankind.
population.
Okay, Jessica, but I'm
You're
looking at
mankind as a
survival.
pollutant.
Yes, survival of
as
mankind.
the pollutant and also the victim. Yeah.
Case in point, Mount Pinatubo delayed global warming by a few years.
Yes, by sending up all that ash
So
into
much
the
ash,
atmosphere,
so much sulfur
it
dioxide.
actually got cooler.
Yes, we had
Yes.
beautiful sunsets, but really temperatures went down to some extent
And
when
also,
Pinatubo
every morning,
happened.
nagwawalis tayo ng lahar.
And that was not even a super volcano. Have you heard of the super volcanoes?
What are the super volcanoes?
Like the Yucatan Peninsula, that whole thing. That was like a
Where the
boom!
dinosaurs
Yes, like a big
died,
explosion.
yeah.
We haven't had that. What if we have a super volcano exploding? Not even Krakatoa was a super explosion, but
But that destroyed the whole
that
island.
destroyed-
Yeah.
Exactly. And for us, that's what we remember
Mm-hmm.
from history. Krakatoa, wow, big, but there were bigger ones before.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is there might be a correction that we cannot even manage. We just need to live with it. Mankind probably will not totally disappear. The dinosaurs disappeared. Yeah, that's true. But there were other reasons for that, maybe.
Yeah, because they had tiny brains and tiny hands.
Yes, and they were big. They were
Yes.
big. So remember that the bigger you are as an organism, the more likely you get extinct. So to be very resilient, you have to be an omnivore. Eat anything. Because those that are specialized and they eat only a specific thing, like the panda. What does a panda eat?
Leaves
Bamboo.
of bamboo.
Just
yes.
bamboo. It
That's why
doesn't
it's
eat
so.
anything.
That's why it's
it
so
is
lazy and listless.
Exactly.
And in the
And so
zoos in the
critical.
States, it's like,
Yeah.
come on, pandas, please have sex with each other. Come on, and they're just lying there.
And you know what happened a decade ago? There was a bloom in the bamboo. The bamboos bloom all at the same time.
Yeah.
It bloomed. That was like, wow, the pandas are in danger because when they bloom, they all die.
Why?
That's the cycle of bamboo.
When
They all bloom,
Okay,
they
and then
die,
they
and
die.
then they come back up.
So the pandas had nothing to eat.
Exactly.
They can't be
So-
convinced to eat like
Exactly my
Beyond
point.
bamboo?
They are not
Impossible
omnivores.
bamboo?
Exactly. They're
Yeah.
not omnivores. So you vegans out there,
You're
no,
doomed.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
no. So we have to eat everything we can.
Well, I'm taking it to the extreme, okay?
Yeah,
But
you're
I'm
being
talking of
survivalist.
species.
Okay, the
I'm talking of
survivalist, yeah.
species,
Uh-uh.
If you look at different species here on Earth, those that will really survive are those that are omnivores. Cockroaches will survive.
Because
They
they
eat
eat
anything.
anything, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's an important point.
Yeah, but when you talk about, the ability to eat anything, I'm thinking now of a zombie apocalypse.
Yes.
But earlier we were talking about environmental conditions in the Philippines, like sanitation. What's the state of sanitation? And by this, I don't just mean hindi naman na-collecta yung basura namin on our street, etc.
We are.
Do we have enough landfills? Or basically, are we living in one giant landfill?
Landfills are there. Land for landfills are there. We need to build more landfills. I mean, we have, as a country, we have banned incineration. So our hands are tied. We need to actually throw in landfills. Other countries either burn or they have landfills, right?
Yes.
But we are the only country that has banned incineration, and so I'm not disputing that or whatever. I have my own opinions on that, but we need to have more landfills. Do we have enough landfills? No, we don't, and that's precisely why you see garbage lying around. Can we solve the problem by all of us segregating?
Yeah.
So everybody here, raise your hand if you really segregate.
Well, I've started because we got a memo that said
You got the memo, yeah, but
penalized, etc.
okay, you segregate.
But
and
John,
then,
what is the point of my segregating? Will they all end up in the same landfill?
which is my point. We segregate. If you segregate, it's because you treat all these segregated streams separately.
Yes.
But the mamang basurero puts them all back into the same garbage truck in the end. So, although, okay, in fairness to some LGUs, they have some days they only collect the nabubulok. On some days, they only collect the hindi nabubulok. So that makes sense. But I hope, and I've never followed the garbage truck, where do they put the nabubulok one? Do they really compost it, which is what they're supposed to do? And then the hindi nabubulok, they put it somewhere else. My point is, if we force people to segregate, government, make sure that you manage it also as segregated waste. Because it doesn't make sense to mix it all back in.
Yeah, because if it's all going in the same place.
Then why did we segregate?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah. So.
right? So.
Yeah, and then what about pollution? As in, is it safe to swim in the Pasig River? What will happen to you if you swim in the Pasig River?
What will happen to you? So you've heard of all these polio, diphtheria, all these different diseases, waterborne diseases for one. So as I just told you, we are not 100% sewered. So that is coming from human beings.
You mean there's still smallpox here?
Over there. Smallpox, I don't know, but smallpox, I don't think it's waterborne, but there are many waterborne diseases. Hepatitis.
Yes.
I think tuberculosis is also waterborne.
And then, of course, leptospirosis.
Leptospirosis, of course. Yeah, that's always there. So don't swim in the Pasig River, my gosh. Okay, let me tell you, I don't even swim, and I won't mention the tourism sites, but I know where there are what they call fecal coliform in the water. And, it's public anyway. Boracay had fecal coliform. So what does fecal coliform tell us when they say there's fecal coliform?
There's poop in the water.
There's human poop in the water. And it's not just human poop, it's recent human poop. Recent. I mean, those are three adjectives that you add to fecal coliform. Recent. Human, fecal contamination. Okay. You want to swim?
I don't swim at all.
So good.
I'm safe. Yeah. So there, pollution. What about the air?
We have the trade winds. They constantly push things and move things around. We do not have the episodes of Beijing or Ulaanbaatar where it stays there for days, or London. Remember the soupy of London? Now they don't have it.
Right.
So all these air pollution episodes, they happen in cold countries where all these houses burn coal to keep warm and all that. So then it mixes there, and then you have this thermal inversion. So that simply means that everything stays down here at ground level.
Yeah, you once gave me a piece of advice that I have told everyone now, and you had better tell me if it's still true, that if you're drinking really, really pure water, it's just going to dilute the minerals in your body, so make sure you eat a clod of dirt afterwards. Should I continue eating a clod of dirt?
I don't think I said cloud of dirt, but anyway, yes, ultra pure water is corrosive because it's so pure that it needs to get balanced. So if you drink it, it will absorb those minerals, electrolytes, just to balance itself. You see, water needs to be balanced. That's why you have minerals in water. And normal water, when you see it in nature, it has minerals. So that's when it's balanced. But when you make ultra pure water, and they do that for semiconductor firms, they need ultra pure water. That's not, you don't drink that. I mean, chemists, they know this.
Okay, so let's talk about the impact of various things that we all use upon the environment, like detergent. What does it do?
Detergent.
Will it help if I buy the environment-friendly organic detergent,
sure.
etc.? Why?
For
What does regular detergent do?
So before, many years ago, all detergent was made from what we call phosphate-based detergent. So phosphate is one of
Phosphate
those.
sounds to me like poop. I'm sorry, everything
But
that you say sounds to me like poop.
It is, and that's precisely why it wasn't good. Well, first of all, detergents, if they're phosphate based and they're not the new kind of detergent, they persist in the environment. That's why you have rivers that keep on foaming, and you have rivers that, you know, in the provinces before, you'd see small streams and everything. There's just a big cloud of foam there. That's because detergents were still made from the old type of detergents.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the phosphate. So many countries have banned phosphate-based detergents because phosphate, and this becomes a little bit technical, phosphate contributes to algal blooms.
Okay.
So it's
algae starts growing.
Algae starts, it blooms. So a bloom is bad. Okay, let's put that there first. It's bad. But why will it bloom? Normally it doesn't bloom. Algae is always there. It doesn't bloom. But when you add that last piece that is needed for it to bloom, which is phosphate.
Well, although on one hand, everything you're saying is horrible and it's going to cause our doom. On the other hand, it's fascinating. As in,
it is, right?
Are there a lot of people taking up environmental engineering in the Philippines now?
Not enough. Not enough.
So, and what are the career opportunities?
Oh, many.
Okay.
Many. You know, companies, a lot of them already have what they call corporate social responsibility, but they also have this pollution control office, or, you know, there is a big demand for environment. I wouldn't just say environment engineers. I would say environmental professionals, people who look at, you know, the impacts of a company's activities, for example, and all that. So yes, good career choice.
Yeah. Okay, and then I remember my friend in the 80s took a gold plating course, and gold plating requires, you know, chemicals like mercury. And then so she raises her hand. She says, "Excuse me, how do we dispose of these chemicals?" And the teacher says, "Pag medyo madilim, umuulan-ulan, itapon nyo lang." Seriously, what is the proper way to get rid of chemicals?
Jessica, let me ask you, do you know what happened to all the chemical waste from our chemistry courses before, when we were doing all these find the unknown,
yes,
make it known,
identify
or whatever,
X.
identify.
Yes, and then you have to use all your
we
equipment.
use so many of those, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that. So these are what you call hazardous waste. So
Yes.
these are toxic waste. So many times they're what you call, heavy metals is one. And then organics that are so exotic that, you know, many times they are what you call, the effects are just a few. It's either carcinogenic, they cause cancer, mutagenic. If you have a baby,
you'll turn into the X-Men.
Not you, but your offspring. So mutagenic.
Although some people really love the X-Men,
maybe.
and you know they will try it. Yeah.
So these are all things. So you get exposed to something in the environment. So you're either it can cause cancer, it can cause mutations, it can even just allergy. So those are not acceptable. So these sorts of chemicals, the mercury, the pesticides, you know, PCBs, all that, these are why we have to manage them separately, you know. So in this country, we do have a law to actually do that. In fairness to the government, we do have a tracking system for all these companies
No, we have
that do
lots
that.
of laws. It's the enforcement.
It's the enforcement. But I know the people in the DNR. So that for the large companies is well managed. They are what you call encapsulated in many cases and then sent to the Clark landfill. Clark landfill is where we dump all these toxic and hazardous waste, but encapsulated. But from houses, you know, where did you throw your acetone?
When I removed the nail polish, it was in the cotton ball.
Where do you throw? Do you still use merthiolate? I mean, you know, don't throw that just anywhere.
And so, Makati and a lot of other cities have banned plastic bags. Is this, as in, I remember initially grumbling now, great, I have to buy eco bags. But then everybody bought eco bags, and now I feel that eco bags are the next disaster. Yeah, but so has this made a positive impact on the environment, not having plastic bags?
Yes.
As in, will the dolphins live?
Undoubtedly, I would say yes, it has. People have changed their behavior in many instances. Metro Manila, more specifically, in the province, I don't know. In the province, I don't really know. I haven't gotten the pulse. But in Manila, a lot of people have changed their behavior and go to the supermarket with their own bags and all that. So it will help. I'm not saying it will not. Definitely it helps. So banning that has definitely reduced our plastic footprint, and we have less of this plastic getting to the landfill.
Okay. And then, but then another problem that has occurred to me recently is because, there's so many fast fashion retailers, as in when you're tired, when you're bored, you're just waiting for your car, you go into a shop, you leave, you buy another cheap t-shirt. What is the environmental impact of fast fashion?
Consumption. There's too much consumption. So when you consume,
when you buy anything,
when you use anything, when you eat anything, wow. So you consume. Are you consuming your share of the world's resources? Maybe you're over-consuming your share. What's your personal share of the world's resources? No one has even computed that. Maybe it's a changing number or whatever. But the point is, live minimally. Try to use as little of the Earth's resources as possible. I mean, that's the whole point. But I myself cannot tell you how much water is your share of the world's resource. I cannot. I don't know. So,
well, I'm still reeling over the disparity. You said that human beings produce 50 kilos of poop a year. And then the theory is that your soul weighs 21 grams. So 21 grams, 50 kilos a year. So, okay.
Okay, to everybody who's listening, just take our word for it, okay? It's 50 kilos per person per year. Don't measure your personal generation rate. So, just believe us.
Some people will find a way to attach a counter to the toilet,
Okay.
And then other things to worry about, like if you use face wash, the one with beads, those micro beads they turn out to be plastic.
They are microplastic. They're called primary microplastic, and we've done a study.
And turtles will eat that and die.
For sure. No, not just turtles. You've eaten your own microplastic. It's, I don't know if it's true, but they say all of us eat the equivalent of one credit card a day of plastic.
Yeah, and then of course we live in an archipelago, and there's a lot of reclamation going on.
Wow, Jessica.
So, what is the impact of reclamation on the environment?
Can we turn off all the mics? No, I'm joking. So, definitely direct impact is changing in the circulation and the current in a certain area where you have these reclamation projects. Is that good or bad? If you change anything in nature, there is this domino effect.
Yeah, and everything is connected, as we are being reminded now.
Exactly. So, the impact definitely is a change in the environment, and a drastic and significant change if it's reclamation. So I'll just end it there and not say too much about, what might be the effect, because it's very localized and it's very specific to where it is. But suffice to say that if you reclaim an area which is an important critical habitat, or not even critical, an important natural habitat.
And anyway, going back to our doomed planet, one way that people suggest that we can fix this planet is to just abandon it and move somewhere else.
Why not?
As in the space program.
Yeah.
But then, given the way people are, and given that, first, of course, it's the rich people who can afford passage to, say, Mars.
Okay.
How do we know that the next planetary colonies that we move to will not become garbage like this world?
Yeah.
There are no rules, right?
No.
As in, we don't even know who owns it. As in, what? You land on it, you own it?
Exactly. Yeah, and you don't have any sort of world body like the UN, for example, or all these international treaties and all that. Those are the ones that are supposed to be, safeguarding the global commons, right? Moving to another planet, wow. It will be a little bit more manageable because you don't have that many people. But then again,
Yeah, so then, before we start moving to another planet, we are going to have environmental laws.
For sure.
Yeah, and what environmental law do you feel is not in place that must be really rushed? right now? What do we really need?
So I'll talk about the more global sort of treaties, because we have a treaty on CFCs for the ozone layer, blah blah blah. We have a treaty on
because I remember in the 80s everybody said,
mercury,
"Oh, there's a hole in the ozone layer, so stop using Aquanet." And people start using Aquanet, and is the hole closed?
Okay, so now that's one of the more successful treaties, because we have healed the ozone hole apparently. But let me tell you, that ozone hole issue was being pushed by the Scandinavian countries, and down south also some of these countries. Why? Because the whole they were in the polar regions. The polar regions. Why? Because the Earth rotates this way, right?
Yeah.
So the polar regions are where you have the thinnest atmosphere. Because of the centrifugal force.
Right.
Where we are, near the equator, our atmosphere is thicker, much thicker. We're protected, The ozone hole will never reach us. So, we were not that affected by the ozone hole. But yeah, we, as an international community, banned all the CFCs, and it has worked.
So, our show is really about sanity maintenance. And, thoughts of climate doom are really affecting our sanity maintenance routines, because, as in, how can we not be anxious when, that the earth is on fire, we're drowning in poop, etc., etc. So, how do we maintain our sanity in the face of climate doom?
Wow! So let me tell you first that there are pollutants out there that are endocrine disrupting. So your endocrine system is what controls your mood. It's what controls your...
So pollution also makes us nuts?
Yeah, not nuts, but it could change your mood. It will not kill you. So, these are things like medicines that you dispose of indiscriminately and it gets somehow to your water. Those are what you call endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs. So all of these things will happen over a geological sort of time frame.
Yeah, geological as in slow, not slow, digital as in fast.
It's not digital at all. So, we're changing the earth, there are big typhoons, blah, 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 all of that. But these changes are geological. It will take time. Is 10 years geological? No.
10 years
it's
is a
50
blip.
years, it's just a small blip there. Don't be too affected by all these things. Do your part. Do your part. We all do our part. That makes you happy.
If only to feel that you are doing something and to sort of take away some of your guilt at being a destroyer of the environment, as in don't use plastic, take care of the detergents, look at the detergents you use, don't throw mercury in the batteries in the toilet bowl, etc.
You're used acetone. Whatever. So all of those. Just be very conscious of that, knowing that, it comes back to you.
But before we end this discussion, since we've already brought it up, suppose Thanos did snap and get rid of half the life forms in the universe. What would happen? Is that a good thing?
Then you talk now about the carrying capacity of this planet. It will improve. Basically, there will be less human beings, less consumption. Okay, but anyway.
No, but I did read, because these things bother me when I watch the movies. Was this half the life forms includes your gut bacteria?
Yes.
So we have like billions of gut bacteria. So the first thing that happens after the snap is we all get, we all run to the bathroom and produce part of the 50 kilos of poop.
Yes. Yes. It's all there. It's all there. Your gut is really a universe of microorganisms.
Yeah, and then PS, of all the things that you could have majored in engineering, why did you choose waste material?
Because it was very closely related to chemical engineering. First of all, everything's chemical. So that's a biased opinion, but it was all there. And second, you can make a difference. These millennials, nowadays they were explaining to me, millennials, they are looking for purpose in life.
Yes.
They are looking. They will do things, and they will not do things because you pay them a lot. They will do things because they think they have a purpose in life.
Yes. So they should take environmental engineering.
This is a purpose of life.
Yes.
Just like Greta Thunberg, right?
Okay.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we'll have you back soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thank you.